Hey everyone, DB here from Eat, Sleep, Cruise, and welcome to our latest edition of Cruise News and Cruise Updates. We're so excited. There's a number of major announcements that we want to discuss. It's going to be a jam-packed show. So before we dive in, if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below and to click the notification icon. That way you get updated each week when we put out brand new cruise and travel videos. So let's get to the top news story of the week. Cruising has resumed here in the US. That's right, you heard me correctly. The first cruise ships to set sail from the US since last August debuted this weekend.
Now, admittedly, the first two ships to set sail were river cruises. Still, this milestone is impressive, as the ship has not sailed in the US since Uncruise Adventures set sail last August. Sadly, that ship's cruise was cut short by a positive COVID-19 test. Now, American Cruise Lines and American Queen Steamboat will have a ship sailing in US waters. Just yesterday, the 100-passenger Independence set sail on a 7-night intracoastal cruise along the waterways of Georgia and South Carolina. Following that cruise, American Queen Steamboat's American Duchess will be offering 2 chartered cruises along the Mississippi River. Both cruise lines have plans to add a second ship later this month. These additions include the christening of American Queen Steamboat's newest ship, the American Countess. For now, the cruise lines have a number of health and safety protocols in place. All guests will need proof of a negative COVID-19 test taken prior to boarding to be allowed on the vessels. The ships will also be sailing at reduced capacity to allow for social distancing. Face masks will be required in public venues and situations where social distancing is not possible. Enhanced sanitation and improved onboard medical services are also part of the new measures occurring on both ships. Even individuals that have been fully vaccinated will need to comply with all of the stated health and safety protocols. However, being vaccinated is not a requirement. American Queen Steamboat did reveal a few weeks ago that they would require individuals cruising as of July of 2021 to be fully vaccinated. Neither of these vessels are bound by the framework for conditional sailing, as they carry less than 250 passengers. Of course, we hope these cruises are successful, as they will provide more evidence that cruising from the US can be safe. We'll be keeping a close eye on these initial sailings, and be sure to report back with any updates, good or bad. There's even more great restart news for those here in the US coming from Crystal Cruises. That cruise line announced plans to restart cruising with new close-to-home Bahama escapes beginning July 3rd of 2021. These cruises will be a series of 16 7-night round-trip cruises from either Nassau or Bimini on Cruise Line's flagship, Crystal Serenity. With her new Bahama Escape cruises, Crystal Serenity becomes the first ship to home port in the Bahamas, as well as the first ocean ship to sail from the Americas since the cruise industry voluntarily halted operations a year ago. Now, on these Bahama escapes, all guests will need to be fully inoculated with a COVID-19 vaccine at least 14 days prior to boarding the ship. This requirement is in addition to comprehensive health and safety measures, which also include negative COVID-19 tests for both guests and crew, reduced capacity, social distancing, a nimble mask policy, and health screening questionnaires. By returning with reduced capacity, the ship will provide guests a passenger space ratio that is twice that of contemporary cruise lines, allowing for the best social distancing aboard any cruise ship. Cruises depart from either Nassau, a popular stop on cruises, as well as Bimini, where cruisers can also enjoy the resort amenities of the Beach Club at Bimini, a private island oasis with a lagoon-style pool, hammocks, cabanas, and a cocktail lounge. The cruises stop at 4 other destinations, including Harbor Island, called the Nantucket of the Caribbean with its colorful New England architecture, and famed for its pink sandy beaches. Great Exuma, the largest of the 300 islands and keys of the Exumas, which is home to the famous swimming pigs and is ideal for snorkeling. Stops also include San Salvador Island and Long Island, an 80-mile-long island straddling the Tropic of Cancer and known for its white sand beaches. These new Bahama cruises will replace Crystal Serenity's previously scheduled itineraries that were set to sail July 8th through October 19th of 2021. Guests who were booked on those voyages have the option to transfer their bookings to one of the new Bahama sailings with an applicable 115% cruise credit based on the cruise fare paid. In more cruise startup news, in a parliamentary committee meeting on March 8th, Minister for Aviation and Maritime Robert Courts confirmed that the cruise industry in the United Kingdom would be included as part of the resumption of domestic tourism and indoor hospitality. Now, the earliest date set for the resumption of cruising would be May 17th, and it is believed that there'll be a number of limitations and health and safety protocols in place on these initial voyages. Now, cruisers from the US and even Europe shouldn't get too excited about these initial sailings. These domestic cruises are expected to first commence between English ports and only be open to UK citizens. While May 17th is technically the earliest they can start, many believe the first sailings won't take place for weeks or months after that date, citing the need to implement new procedures and safety protocols, as well as government checks and processes. Cruise lines will most likely not set sail until sometime in the summer. British-based P&O Cruises have already announced plans to offer these domestic cruises for British citizens. Plans from that cruise line are expected to roll out later this month. Princess Cruises has also indicated they will roll out UK-only cruises. While the details are not yet known, that cruise line has indicated they will sail late this summer. The UK will be following a similar model to other countries, which include Italy, Germany, and Singapore, which have previously permitted large cruise ships to resume service offering domestic cruises. Whether these cruises will eventually be extended to other nations is not yet known, but it's highly unlikely that US cruisers will be allowed to sail from the UK before ocean cruising resumes here from North America. In more positive signs that cruising can resume in the US, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention updated its guidelines for fully vaccinated individuals this past week. This is the first set of public health recommendations that have been issued for the growing vaccinated population. Here in the United States, individuals are considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after receiving their second dose of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines, or 2 weeks after the single dose of Johnson & Johnson Janssen vaccine. Now, fully vaccinated individuals can sit with other fully vaccinated people indoors without wearing masks or social distancing. They can also visit with unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease. Further, they can refrain from quarantine and testing following a known exposure if they are asymptomatic. Now, the CDC indicates that some preventative measures will continue to be necessary until more is known and until more of the population is vaccinated. This applies to all people, regardless of vaccination status. When it comes to travel, the CDC continues to recommend avoiding travel at this time. Still, there's growing evidence that fully vaccinated individuals are less likely to have asymptomatic infections. Also, they're less likely to transmit the virus to others. So does this mean that vaccinations will be a requirement to cruise? While the CEOs of the major cruise lines have discussed the COVID vaccine, none have yet made any public statements on whether the vaccine will be a requirement to cruise in the United States. Now, Royal Caribbean was the first major cruise line to indicate that Odyssey of the Seas will be the first fully vaccinated ship when it set sail from Israel in May. However, that requirement came mostly from the Israeli government. All crew and guests above the age of 16 will need to be vaccinated against COVID-19 before sailing. Likewise, the UK cruise line Saga Cruises has already indicated that all guests must have received both doses before sailing. As mentioned previously, American Queen Steamboat Company and Victory Cruise Lines, its sister brand, have both updated their health and safety protocols to reflect the requirement for a COVID vaccine for all guests and crew for sailings beginning on July 1st, 2021. The next question that naturally comes to mind is, if vaccines are a requirement, will other health measures like mask wearing and social distancing still be part of the protocols? Well, stay tuned for more details, as we suspect the CDC and the cruise lines will be making announcements soon about the resumption of cruising here in the US. While return to service plans have not been announced, several cruise lines this past week updated itineraries. This mostly meant a slew of new cancellations from the major cruise lines. Among them was Holland America, which canceled cruises in Europe through June 30th of 2021. The line had previously canceled all cruises starting and ending in Canada for all of 2021, and cruises through April 30th of 2021. Now the cruise line have pushed back the start date for all cruises until at least July. How this might impact the maiden voyage of Rotterdam, scheduled for August 1st, is unknown. Likewise, Princess Cruises continues to work with government and port authorities to finalize its plans for return to cruising. The company extended its pause on cruise vacations, sailing the Caribbean, California coast, Mexico, and the Mediterranean through June 30th of 2021. Originally, the cruise line was canceled through May 14th of 2021. Princess has also canceled all cruises starting and ending in Canada for 2021. This week, Royal Caribbean Group announced they were extending cancellations on cruise ships in its various fleets through May 30th of 2021. This included all sailings on Celebrity Cruises and Azamara Cruises, and most Royal Caribbean international ships. However, these new itinerary changes do not apply to Quantum of the Seas, currently sailing in Singapore, or to Odyssey of the Seas, which is due to set sail in Israel in May. These cancellations also do not affect planned China sailings on Spectrum of the Seas and Voyager of the Seas. Those sailings are canceled through April 30th of 2021, at least for now. In tandem with the International Women's Day, Virgin Voyages announced last week the name of its third ship. Resilient Lady will be the newest sister ship to Scarlet Lady and Valiant Lady. Resilient Lady is a name that seems more fitting than ever before, given the events of the past year. According to the cruise line, she'll be a ship who represents so much more than they could ever imagine. This new ship will reflect the strength of the past and the power of the future for the brand. Virgin Voyages' third ship, Resilient Lady, will sail from the new home port near Athens, Greece. She will begin sailing in July of 2022. The ship will offer 2 7-night itineraries, which include island hopping in the Adriatic, late nights in Croatia, and overnights in Mykonos. The Greek island glow itineraries feature stops in Santorini, Rhodes, Crete, and an overnight in Mykonos. The Adriatic Sea and Greek Gems itinerary heads to Croatia, Kotor, Montenegro, with 2 additional Greek island stops. These itineraries are now available to be booked for voyages in 2022. And there you have it. That's the latest cruise news and cruise ship updates from all the major cruise lines. But of course, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comment section below when you plan to cruise again. I'm DB from EatSleepCruise.com. And if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, or you've been lurking around for a while and haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe down below and to click the notification icon. That way, you get updated each week when we put out brand new cruise and travel videos. You can also say hi to us all over social media at EatSleepCruise. And thanks again for watching.